Hi. Today we are about we start to talk about philosophy, and I think well there will be really um, there will be an opportunity to just um, talk about topics which are either of basics of philosophy or that are even loosely connected with it, uh, or which are mm, well topics which are just which I'm really curious about. So now I think the good idea is to just say something about what is philosophy, uh, what's her status, etc., etc. Using something like two thought experiments. Um, the second one is the thought experiment which I made in my mind, and is my idea. And the first is like I've read something, I was inspired, and I don't know if I came up with this thought experiment, or is it just an idea which appeared in literature. So first, the first thought experiment where I want to show you that philosophy is a game, and also kind of criticize this thought experiment. So um, in philosophy, how to start? There was a first philosopher who started by just asking something like a stupid question. Why he started to ask that question? What is the um, well? How we could say this? Um, what is the principal element of the world? What is the what's first in the universe? And why he did this? Asking that question, we are starting. We are connecting with his state of mind. We are connecting with his with his interests, with him in being a philosopher, and we are becoming philosophers. And of course, thinking about another philosophies, we are starting to philosophize. We are philosophizing either starting to think on our own, or just joining the community of philosophers. So even if we don't even if we don't like philosophy, just by just by saying that was stupid. This is crazy. We are starting to philosophize, because we are starting to think, because because we are just talking about this, and the philosophy is a tricky game, or when let's assume that we are not thinking about philosophy, but if you meet some philosopher like Socrates, he could, well, it was a man who could push people to philosophize, despite them being uninterested in this, not because it's not like pushing someone into the water or something. They just agree to philosophize without them being conscious philosophizing, because they just were in dialogue. So the philosophy is like, if you meet some philosopher and just start to think about it, you unconsciously, in non-conscious way, start to be a philosopher. It's because philosophy is based on reason. So it's not, probably it's not possible to just not being a philosopher. You can just just be silent about your thoughts, even silent with yourself, and you just you may not think even, but when someone meets you, you cannot be pushed. You have a way, either to be violent towards him, or to talk, and if you start to talk, you that there is one way of talking. Well, there might be two ways, because you can just start to use some techniques, Aristotle, etc. But it's a kind of violence again. It's not. It's rude. Yes, it's not philosophy in itself. So there is only one way to behave when you start to philosophize, and it's to start just be a philosopher. Well, you can seek some arguments to show that philosophy is stupid, and firstly you are philosophizing, and the second and another thing is there is no certainty that you will find that kind of argument. There were some people who thought they found it. Well, maybe they found it, but there are many people still who do this thing, yeah. But it's not the thing that is only about philosophy. Every intellectual kind of activity of human beings is like this, is like that game. For example, in biology, for example, you have some theories. For instance, theory of evolution, and if you want to, there is only one way to well, you have to either be. There are two ways. You either have to be a biologist. You have to have a huge knowledge about what is in biology, or also about methods, or you may be a genius super philosopher, or someone like a man who thinks about biology outside biology, or about sciences, criticizing their methods and proving every science is wrong. Well, that could be some super genius who could do this, but well, the key is that if you want to really be with even criticizing some biological theories, you have to be some kind of scientist, and it's all about being that in that game. And another thought experiment I made. This is the thought experiment I made myself. Is that philosophy is like kind of, well, maybe the classes in his history of art, and just imagine that you have some points, you have some points, positive feedback if you just participate in these classes, and if a teacher asks some questions of make you an exam, you just give him right answers. So there is a one kind of questions and answers, and there is a one kind of knowledge, and this knowledge is about points and positive feedback, and if and you have some reason, some interest, some there is practical reason why you have to you choose to just participate in this game of teaching and being well, yes, teaching and learning, and that there is a reason why you want to have some points. So but there is another kind of questions and answers. You make it for yourself and you have no points out of this questions and answers and out of this knowledge. For example, you can ask what's behind this picture. Yeah, you have points by answering the questions what's on this picture, and you just are curious about what is behind it. Well, and you can everyone call you crazy because these questions are not justified reasonably, rationally. They are not necessary to have some points, but you just ask, and wow, you have one interesting justification. You say, we are the part of this picture. Yeah, and well, isn't it really really amazing that we are well, somehow we are talking about ourselves, but on a different level. Well, and it's really not easy to. Well, we can say it's a fundamental level or something like that, but it's a philosophical word, philosophical concept, and I don't really need to talk about philosophy using this concept. I just try to talk like like I was laying on the beach in a fireplace, talking to some friends, buddies, etc., drinking beer. It's better to talk about philosophy this way, just to really get to know how it really works. Not using that pathetic vocabulary. Okay. Where I ended, I don't know. I hope this will be good film, but okay. Let's go back. Well, there was one thing I can. Okay. And another where there is no well, mankind is it's not only evident, but mankind is deeper and more transcendent that we in our modern times are accustomed to think about it. Have some deeper needs, and we could say that philosophy is an only one way of participating in this kind of activity, which includes no evaluation, no pointing, no no practical interests and businesses of people, but there are something like arts, something like, well, a healthy way to live maybe consists only just uh, um, it consists only just maybe firstly aiming at the things that are we have no interest in, and we are just, even in this egoists, heaven is something egoistic, and also knowledge is something egoistic, but it not but it an egoism on deeper level, yeah. um, so what's the difference between philosophy and these activities, like participating in religious events, praying and painting and reading some poems? I think well it's about knowledge. Well, it's a difference. Reading poem or praying, your goal is not to gain some knowledge, and asking and, well, building some systems, making some arguments, asking, answering. You reading wise books, you start to um, cognitively be with some transcendent, um, not some well, some amazing parts of this world. I hope you liked it. I think my English goes better, and maybe soon I will start to record films which are well, some another interesting topics, yeah, about some interesting topics. Thank you for watching, and bye.